Welcome, everyone. We all want growth, but what does it really take to become the next version of yourself? What does it really take to become the person you were meant to be? In this episode, we're going to explore the ideas of becoming, not just improving, but truly transforming. It's about letting go what's holding you back, building that mindset, that habits, and that identity to pull you forward. So, how does this actually happen? What just have to happen with your beliefs, your routines, your environment? That's what we're going to unpack today. We're going to really explore this and explore this through the lens of a special guest, Morgan Gillis. She's an entrepreneur who's been on a unique journey from motocross racing, CrossFit in Canada, to taking a solo road trip, to finding her mentors in the US. She's had her ups and downs. She's figured out her life path, and through and have built a really successful entrepreneur. Screw that up. We're going to explore this through the lens of a special guest, Morgan Gillis. She's an entrepreneur who's been on a unique journey from motocross racing and CrossFit in Canada to taking a solo trip through the US to meet mentors. She's had her ups and downs, figured out her life path, and today she's a very successful entrepreneur, helping other entrepreneurs, especially coaches, go from literally $0 to earn 10, 20, and even 50K months. I also want to add this note. I've known Morgan for 10 years, and I've seen her unique journey. So the questions I'm going to ask today is meant to help unravel that journey for you, the listener, so you can walk away with some golden nuggets by the end of this episode. So with that said, welcome, Morgan. How you doing?
Great. I'm excited.
Nice. I wanna start here. Because to really give the listener context for your growth. I think from this, they'll better understand how far you've come and what shaped your journey. I met you in 2015. It's a rooftop party, San Diego. Out of the darkness, I saw you, and then we started chatting about Steve Jobs, and that famous 2005 Stanford University commencement speech, where he talked about connecting the dots. 10 years later, we're still friends. When I met you, I want to ask, so the listener could get context, what was going on in your life then? Where were you mentally, emotionally, financially?
Yeah, I'm cracking up because you're like, yeah, we met at a party, and that is the least Morgan place to meet somebody. Like, if you know me, like, when do I ever go to a party? What was going on in my life at that point? I think that probably about a year before that, I had been in engineering. I left. I took a bet on myself. I ended up going to work at this CrossFit gym in Memphis, Tennessee, and then dots clicked into place. Next thing you know, I came out to California. I was hanging around with this group of people, and the guy that I was working for was like, "Hey, do you want to come to this party? There's a bunch of entrepreneurs there." And I was like, "Well, duh," right?
Right.
So I was basically on this path of trying to figure it out. Like, honestly, I was probably searching for my passion, if you will.
Yeah.
But I was trying to figure it out, and I didn't really know what I was. I wasn't certain on the direction yet. I was trying to find the direction, and yeah, I was just kind of mucking around, you know. I didn't 100% know where it was leading, but I knew I didn't want to go back where I had come from. And so I was just trying to forge a path forward, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. You're now 10 years later, successful business owner. You're helping others achieve their own success. You recently hit 100K months. Simple question. What's life now?
That's a broad question. What do you mean by that?
I mean, where are you? Again, it goes back to the same emotionally, mentally. Yeah, your growth. Where are you right now?
I mean, in a much different place.
Yeah.
I would say. I definitely feel like I found the thing that I was searching for sure. You say successful business owner. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. But also, the farther you get along, you just change the goalposts. And so for me, I'm like, well, I'm not an Alex Hormozy yet, or I'm not like a, whatever.
Right.
Right. So I guess, more successful, whatever, but yeah, in a very different place. I found the direction, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, key moments in your life. I want to touch on this because this is where the growth happens. I watch you change. You were working at a CrossFit company, fitness company. You got fired. You became a health coach. Undervalued health coach, I would say, because you're charging $35 for your services back then. You gave that up, became a waitress, working long hours, feet is killing you. And then you finally launched your first, did your first launch. Walk us through some of those key moments in your life. I really want the listener to feel that journey that you undertook.
Like which moment?
If you could start with like working for that CrossFit company and going through those phases of being fired, just being that health coach. What was some of that in that journey? What were some of those low points in your life?
Yeah. I mean, probably being, X amount of years into, like, it makes me think about 2018. It makes me think about the lowest point of the lowest points, right?
What happened in 2018?
Just having left engineering and been not doing that for years, right? Like, leaving engineering 2014 and then basically getting to 2018. I think it was the fall of 2018. And realizing that I still didn't have anything figured out. And I'm like, okay, I mean, it's not like I haven't been applying myself. It's not like I've just been coasting. I've actually been trying, and I should sure as hell be smart enough to figure this out. Like, if I was smart enough to, do engineering and figure that out, like, shouldn't I be farther along than this, And I remember kind of getting home one day after waiting tables and walking through the door of the place that I was staying at. Backstory, I was living with my uncle at the time. He got a different job and basically had to leave, and he was selling the house, so the house was empty, right? And I had to find a new place like a month after that. But I remember walking through the door. It's like pitch dark. It's like 1 a.m. The whole house is empty. And in my mind, I'm just like, this situation actually feels like it is my life. Like, this empty, dark apartment is like kind of how I feel. You know what I mean?
Right.
I remember it just being like, okay, if you think of health, wealth, relationships, right? Like the main areas of life. It's like, well, how's your health right now, Morgs? It's like, well, I mean, I'm waiting tables on the time. I'm up to crazy hours. I eat crap at the restaurant. Like, probably getting up super late. Like, everything's all mucked up. How's your wealth? Well, not going the way that I would like it to go. I mean, I definitely like to not be waiting tables to pay bills right now, and no disrespect to anyone who does that. It's just, I just knew that wasn't for me. And then, relationships. It's like, well, I've been trying to build this business on the side, and I've been trying to, I've been like working 2 jobs, basically. I'm working at the restaurant. I'm trying to build my own thing. And so I'm never really not working. And so I'm not prioritizing that. Yeah. So it's just like my life feels like a train wreck, essentially. And that's what I would call like my moment of peak disappointment, I would say. Yeah.
Was that a catalyst for you to change?
100%. 100% that was a catalyst.
Because you were and I figured this was one of your lowest point or the lowest point in your life.
Yeah.
Where you've been you've been the health coach, you've been now doing this, being a waitress, working long hours, and you reach a point where, man, I want to achieve my goals, and I have this potential, and you feel it, but at the same time, did you feel like you were letting yourself down?
100%.
Yeah.
It wasn't even just letting myself down. Like, I was actually almost disgusted with myself.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing that I ever did was fully felt into how disgusted I was with myself.
Right.
and really, really felt that. And I remember sitting one night, I was like staring into this fire in the backyard in this moment. I was like kind of staring into this fire and just kind of thinking to myself, like feeling that emotion of disgust.
Mm-hmm.
And then also somehow having this realization, like I was smart enough in that moment to not think that anything else was responsible for that. You know,
Right.
like that was somehow 100% on me. Even with the best intentions, me feeling like I was taking the right actions, I'm like, no, somehow you created this. And you're the only one who can uncreate this.
Right.
You know? So, yeah.
So I guess it's reached a point where you took full ownership. And would that be a big idea you want to drive home to the listener, that taking full ownership of where they are right now, full accountability?
Yeah, for sure, with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not to kind of fast forward too much, but I mean, this is even a big thing with the team that we have now, is like, I want everyone to take extreme ownership.
Right.
You know? For example, if we're not booking the amount of sales calls that we want to book,
Yeah.
then I shouldn't be saying to my, appointment setter, hey, like, this is all on you.
Yeah.
I take responsibility. I'm like, well, guess who's running the ads? Guess who's creating the content? Or not, right?
Right.
So I take ownership of that, but also he takes ownership of that. So
Yeah.
he shouldn't be saying, well, it's the lead quality. Well, it's the ads.
Right.
Like, I want everyone to fully own it.
Yeah.
And when everyone fully owns it, then it's not like it's lost in the middle and nobody's taking control over this. It's everyone's trying to take their control over it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's a big idea for yourself, like, personally,
Yeah.
or for your business, for your team, whatever.
Right.
Because, like, what's the point of, like, do you have control over giving that thing to somebody else? You just lose all your control. You just give all your
Exactly.
power away, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The theme of this podcast is becoming.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen you at your point A. We've got a glimpse at you at point B.
Mm-hmm.
There's the catalyst, taking full ownership. What else do you think is that you could attribute to the change?
Well, something else that I would say that all of the shifts
Yeah.
in terms of, an upward trajectory started in that moment.
Right.
It started with that feeling of disgust. It started with not trying to make that feeling go away or dull it or pretend it wasn't there, feeling the heck out of it,
Right.
taking full ownership for it. But I would say another thing that's just really relevant is emotions, whether they're good or they're bad, can you use whatever you've got. Like Hormozy says this sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But I 100% used that negative emotion to my advantage.
Yeah.
Right? And what it made me do is it made me really reflect. It's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, how did I create this? And it was, you don't want to sit there because it feels painful to sit there, right? So
Yeah.
you want to run away from it. And so I kind of used that to sit and reflect and think, well, if I created this, what am I doing that I shouldn't be doing? Or
Yeah.
what am I not doing that I should be doing? And in that moment, this is where it started to shift. Now, there was a lag time between when I started making those shifts and when it
100%.
actually started to play out. Got a good quote I want to loop back to from Jim Rohn on that one. It's a really good one. It's helped me so much in my shit times. But in that moment, I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do differently? Like first is like you got to kind of identify the problem,
Yeah.
and then you have to think about the solution, right? So for me, I was like, well, what is the problem here? And I had it self-identified, whether this was right or not at the time, that it was like, okay, the issue right now is that you're not hanging around the right people. You constantly feel like you're swimming upstream.
Right.
Everyone around you is going the other way. And so you feel like the odd one out, you feel lonely, and you have all these influences where you're trying to go left and they're trying to take you right. And so I was like, okay, well, how do I get around the right people? And the best, too bad I didn't have ChatGPT then. ChatGPT could have brainstormed with me.
Give you all the answers.
Yeah, it would have given me better answers than I freaking came up with. But anyways, I was like, okay, let me join Toastmasters, because I figured at
Right.
least these people are into personal development, right? And then I said, okay, let me also join this co-working space, because at least these people have frickin' business.
Yeah.
Because I think part of the issue right now is like you feel like you're the only entrepreneur on the planet, right? You got to surround yourself with people who are at least trying to go in the same direction. And then the third thing I joined is I joined a CrossFit gym again because my health habits were just slipping in, from the waiting tables scene, if you will. And so I was like, okay, these three things would probably point me in the right direction. Don't get me wrong. CrossFit was helpful from a health perspective. It didn't really push my business where I wanted to go, but it got me into a better mental headspace and whatever.
Right.
The Toastmasters thing was okay. It didn't really stick, and I don't mean this in a weird way, but it was just a very older crowd, and I just didn't really emotionally connect with a lot of people. But my intentions were in the right place.
You tested it out. Yeah.
I tested it out, but the thing that actually stuck was the co-working space, and that actually unlocked a lot for me. So getting around the right people, when I really think about the three main things, and maybe we should back up for a second and go back into these main things. But when I think about the three catalysts that I actually found, one was the lead generation job at the startup at Trellis. One was the mindset and business coach, and the other one was the course I bought. All three of those came from the co-working space.
So when you encountered those three things, was it after that low point you had, just to get context, the timeline?
Yeah, so basically what happened, 2018, October, and I know what month it was because that's my birthday month, and I get super reflective, and it's also fall, and it just makes me go inward.
Yeah.
So that was when I started doing the co-working space stuff. That was 2018. It was about the same time 1 year later when the pieces truly started to click.
Yeah.
So there was a lag time. Like I had to make a decision, and I'm imagining that when I made that decision, my trajectory may have been like this, but my trajectory shifted in that moment, right? So it was going like this, it shifted like this, but over time, that's a very different place you end up at, right? There's a very big delta between those two things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You talk about, in a previous conversation we had, you talk about traits, and traits are not fixed. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because you realize that your identity had to shift.
Yeah. I mean, I think that your identity is a lot less fixed than you think it is. Right? Like, who said this? Joe Dispenza said this in his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, whether you like that book or him or not.
Right.
Throwing rocks at you. But anyways, he had this concept in the book, and he basically said that identities, they're just jackets. Just jackets you try on. And if you don't like that identity, you can just take it off. And that was like very, very powerful for me. Because your identity is a lot less fixed than you think it is. And you can change things about yourself, which I find super empowering. And it's amazing when you do.
Right.
Yeah.
What was you think the biggest shift from old Morgan to new Morgan today?
I mean, there wasn't one. It was just many. Many shifts over time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I wanna ask you something. You talked about going to the finding a community, the co-working space. Let's talk about mentorship and coaching. Mentors and coaching. I've seen, and this is I want to, because I have this. I knew you back then, and you were a bit frugal. You had a scarcity mindset back then. Now you invest in a lot of coaching and mentoring. Why invest so much in people now?
I mean, I think this has a lot of Hormozi influence in his way of thinking.
Yeah.
And in terms of my evolution, learning how to think differently and have a different perspective about stuff is very helpful.
Right.
One thing that he would say is like, humans want to do stuff that they've been rewarded for in the past, right? And so some of the biggest shifts that I made were after investing in that online course, investing in that, mindset coach.
Yeah.
That's how I went from making $1,000 a month to my first $20,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
That's how I went from I can think of the mentor who helped me make that happen. I can think of the mentor who I invested into, and I went from $60,000 a year to $250,000 a year, right? And I think that something that really, really sticks with me now is that, is basically like, if you want to make $1 million, and right now you're making $200,000 a year, every year that you don't figure out how to make $1 million, you lose $800,000, right? And that's I forget who Hormozi got that from, some presentation, and it was a close the guy was using, but it's like sometimes you got to close your freaking self on the thing that you know you need to do, right? And so for me, it's just like, ignorance tax is what he calls it, right?
Ignorance
like
tax.
You not knowing how to do this thing is costing you so much money. And so, yeah, that's why I'm big on it, because it's like I see it as an investment.
Yeah.
If I put $10,000 into a coaching program, if I put $10,000 into the stock market, let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Cool. 12 months later, I now have $11,000 maybe if it makes 10%. If I put $10,000 into myself and I bet on me, do I think I can make at least an extra $1,000 that year? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of what shifted.
Gotcha.
Just looking at things different, just a different perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. When people come to you as a potential client, what is their hesitation? Do you think they're burned a lot and they have a lot of skepticism?
For sure. Not all of them, but
Yeah.
some. Some understand that that's just part of the process, and that in the process of trying to find the thing that gets you where you need to go, there will be some failures along the way, and I think that's a good mindset to have.
Right.
But some people have been burned by a lot of people,
Yeah.
and they're very hesitant.
Yeah. Have you ever invested a lot in a coach or a program or something that it didn't turn out the way you were, but maybe you got something and it was probably worth the investment from that?
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't say, I don't really like thinking that like I ever got burned by something.
Yeah.
And this goes back to the extreme ownership thing, is, well, who made that decision?
Right.
Who didn't do their due diligence on that
Yeah.
move, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a you problem, right?
Right.
There was one program I can think of in particular that it was a lot of money. It was the biggest investment I had made at the time, and it definitely didn't. There were so many things wrong with it. Number one, I don't think I ever should have been sold into that program to begin with, because like I was not their avatar whatsoever. Like I wasn't even the type of coach that they serve. So
Right.
like that was a whole thing. And what I went to them for, the skills that I went to them for, the trainings on that was like just not at all what I had expected. So I would say in that sense, that wasn't the greatest move. However, there was some tiny things they made. Like probably the biggest thing I got from that experience was doubling my prices. Now that was a really hard pill to swallow,
Yeah.
and it probably cost me some money in the beginning more than it made me money, but now massively helpful. And that one thing made me way more than what I paid for it, even though the experience itself wasn't that great. So
Gotcha.
it just takes time.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is it just takes time for your investments to shake out. I don't think there's ever been an investment that I made where I didn't make the money back, but it has to be on a long enough time horizon, right?
Right.
Like the first coach I ever had, I finished up working with her, and I still wasn't making the amount of money I wanted to make, right? We did 3 months together, and I wasn't there. And then I went on my own for 3 months, and it was 6 months after that I had my first $20,000 month, right? But if I would have just been so short-sighted to think that, okay, I worked with this gal, and it didn't happen. Wow, she sucks,
Yeah.
right? I knew I was farther ahead, even though it hadn't shown up on my bank account yet. But 3 months later, I was like, oh, we're on a completely different planet.
Yeah.
But it took 6 months for that to shake out.
And that's the thing. Sometimes people just don't see they don't see the lag time.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just being patient and just put in the work and just understanding it'll take some time before you see results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. And I want to remember that Jim Rohn quote I was going to mention. Something that really, really helped me in that season where I was just feeling like, to be honest, I don't know if I can say this on this podcast, but I was just feeling like shit that
Yeah.
I wasn't where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Right. And look at me not dropping any real bad swear words on here. It's like I'm in
I know,
Dubai.
right?
I'm practicing for Dubai. Anyways, I remember there was at one point during that journey, like 2018 type of thing, right? And I just wasn't happy with where I was. But Jim Rohn had a quote. I remember biking around. I think I was listening to his audiobook. It was like Jim Rohn, Living an Inspired Life or whatever. And I remember listening to that audiobook, and he had something in there, and it friggin' stuck with me. But it's like, you can't change destination immediately, but you can change direction. And direction is very important.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, I was like, cool, I don't have what I want. I feel like trash. I'm not that proud of myself,
Yeah.
right? But the one thing that I do have, and I can take comfort and peace in this moment knowing, is that I am doing today things differently. And although my destination isn't different yet, my direction is, like, my compass is pointed in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And that gave me a lot of peace just in that moment. Because that's, like, what else do you have control over?
Right.
Right? You can only
Yeah.
control what you're doing right now. And when I think about 2018 and making that, making that decision to go do those three things,
Yeah.
2018, get into that co-working space, took me a whole year to start realizing the benefits of that.
Right.
But that's where I got connected with the startup, the course, the coach, and then 6 months later, I had my first 20K month. Right?
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
I want to touch on something that's, I think, is important.
Sure.
When we talk about you investing a lot in coaches now,
Yeah.
there were times in your life, like going to that co-working space, where you did not have the money, but you surrounded yourself with people. You also was in Canada in the early days, and then you traveled to Tennessee to meet mentors. You didn't
Yeah.
have money back then to spend $25K in coaching, but you surrounded yourself. You volunteered. You surrounded yourself. You found mentors. I want the podcast listener to really take that into account, that they can put themselves out there and find valuable people that can help them.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I never paid you anything, but you've definitely mentored me in my life.
Right.
Right. But I will say
I'll
this:
send it. I'll send the bill
Yeah.
afterwards, after this podcast.
No. If you want to get technical, though,
Yeah.
now here's what's interesting. I didn't realize it when I did that first, like when I left engineering and I moved to Memphis and I started coaching at that CrossFit gym for free for 6 months.
Right.
For these random 3 people that I had never met in my life, but I knew them from YouTube.
Yeah.
Which is a crazy story. I didn't realize it at the time, but I paid like 20 grand for that. Because I had all this money saved up. I was working my tail off in the summer so that when I went back to school, because I was putting myself through university, right?
Right.
When I went back to school, I'd have that money. And then I called up mom one day, middle of the summer, was like, yeah, so I'm dropping out of engineering, actually. I'm not going back. And
How
I'm
did she take it?
I'm moving to Memphis, Tennessee to go work for these 3 guys I found on YouTube for free.
Right.
And she's like, being my mom, she's like the best. She just is like, yeah, cool, I'm happy with whatever you're doing. Can I come for the drive, right? So she comes with me. But anyways, my point is, I took that 20 grand. I floated myself in that 20 grand for 6 months, right? And then I had no money left.
Right.
So even though I was very unfamiliar with the concept of investing in myself, and I probably didn't even see it that way at the time, I spent 20 grand on that experience,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Because I went back to zero, and then I was like, guys, somebody needs to pay me because
Right.
I now have no money. And then the California thing happened and whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah.
If someone was to come to you today and say, like, hey, I have a coaching business.
Yeah.
I make $1,000 a month. Can you help me grow it? How would you guide them? What's your process?
How would I guide them?
Yeah.
Well, I would put them into our sales process is what I would do. No, if they wanted
Let's say they bought your coaching services.
Yeah.
What next?
Yeah, and I'm joking about that a little bit, but I'm
Right.
also not joking because, like, what is our sales process designed to do? It's designed to see where are you, where the heck you trying to go,
Yeah.
what do you need? If I think I can help you get there, I'll help you. If not, I'll be like, hey, I'm not the person for you, right?
Right.
But sorry, say that question one more time.
So someone comes to you today. They have, hey, I have a business, a coaching business. It's making $1,000 a month. I want to grow it to $10,000.
Yeah,
Here's my money. Take it. Help me.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what they're starting with,
Yeah.
right? But in general, I mean, actually, maybe it doesn't depend as much what they're starting with because we don't really skip steps. But it's like, what do you need realistically to build a coaching business? At its most foundational, you need 3 things. You need leads.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get those leads to book a call with you. And you need to close those calls. And if you can do those 3 things, you'll have clients. Now, what goes into getting leads for us is, cool, what's your niche? We got to make sure you got a profitable niche.
Right.
There's got to be a big enough pain point. I call it the 3P formula, right? There's got to be enough big enough pain point. They have to have the purchasing power to pay you. And hopefully you're passionate about that thing. Because if you're building a coaching business, I mean, God, you got to be in it because you love it, right? Or else just go work in corporate or something, right? So anyways, we got to make sure that that makes sense. And then that their offer makes sense. They got the right price point, structure, all that stuff. The thing they're exchanging for money. Make sure their messaging is dialed in. And we just kind of have those foundations, take that messaging and put it... At this point, the number one way we get leads is ads, right? There's 3 ways you can do it. You can do it by running ads, like paid traffic. You can do it organically through, viral content, or you could do it through reach outs, right? We teach all 3, but ads totally work the best. They're the fastest, whatever, right? So we take those foundations, we get them to run ads, boom, you've solved problem number 1, you have leads. And then from those leads, it's like, okay, cool, you have to get people to the phone with you. And that's really 2 main things. That's your content, and it's your DMs, right? And people dramatically underestimate the DMs thing. Very, very big piece. And when I think about how I went from $1,000 a month to $20,000 a month, messages were such a big part of it. But anyways, let me go with that, and we can recap
Sure.
in a second. In terms of your content, it's like, okay, we call it our content flywheel or a content flywheel, whatever. What are you posting on your Instagram feed? There's a specific purpose for that. Your Instagram stories, specific purpose. Your YouTube channel, long form content, and then maybe some retargeting ads. What's all that content designed to do? It's designed so that when people hit your page, they get warmed up enough by that. They know, like, and trust you enough. They're even willing to entertain a conversation with you in the DMs, right? And if you've got a strategy for your DMs, you can turn followers into calls. And then number 2, you've solved that problem. You're booking calls. The last thing is you just need to learn how to close those calls. You just need a process for sales. You need, the skills for that. And you're signing clients. And other than that, in terms of scaling it to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100K per month, it really just becomes about scaling with basically your team systems and ads, just spending more, getting more leads, right?
Mm-hmm. The DMs, you mentioned that's an important part of the process on Instagram.
Yeah.
Is that part of like you're nurturing the leads? Or is it you closing them in the DMs?
No, you're not closing them.
Yeah.
There can be a little nurture that happens there.
Yeah.
Because think about it. You're speaking with, if you don't speak to someone in the DMs,
Yeah.
cool. The only way that you're marketing to them is one to many. When they see your ad and you have one piece of content, cool, that one piece of content is going to many people.
Yeah.
When they see any organic content that you post or on your stories or whatever, I mean, you're creating one thing, you're talking to multiple people at once.
Yeah.
But when you actually message them in the DMs, they're talking to just you. This is a private room. There's 2 people in here, right?
Right.
It's me and it's this other person.
Right.
And so that feels very different. You're being talked with, not talked at, right? And so, I mean, think about it. What are you, who are you more likely to buy from? Someone that, you've never had a conversation with, or someone that's like been in a conversation with you one-to-one, right? And has that connection. Probably someone who has that connection.
Yeah. Sales. When you think about sales, what was the mindset shift that happened for you from becoming a poor salesperson to a great salesperson? And because a lot of people out there, a lot of coaches and stuff, they don't value sales as much, and it's probably one of the most, if not the most critical part of this business.
I mean, and this is kind of why I do it, right? Like why I do this stuff is because when I started, I really just wanted to help people and I wanted to coach. But then you eventually get slapped in the face by the reality that you can't just be a good coach. You have to learn how to market and you have to learn how to sell. And if you don't want to learn those things, well, then this business isn't for you. So it just was, if you wanted to do that thing, you had to learn it. And then in terms of getting good at it, I think probably the biggest thing for me is just knowing that sales is service, as long as you have a good product, right? But truly, you're trying to help that person get a result. And if you believe in the thing that you're selling, then it makes sense that you're going to walk them through their fears, walk them through their hesitations, show them a different perspective, show them where they want one identity, but they're showing up as a different one, right? And you're not making them do anything.
Yeah.
You're simply presenting an offer. Like, really, you're just getting them to confront reality.
Right.
They see the facts. They see what it is. You present an opportunity to help them. And if within them sitting here, right, and them trying to get here, and you have this opportunity, there's some sort of bullshit beliefs or thought patterns that are clouding what's actually happening, then you tell them, right? You give them that insight.
Yeah.
But you can't make someone give you their credit card. You can't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love what you said there. Sales is service, and we don't normally look at sales like that. It's almost like we're trying to close this person, and there's a lot of anxiety that comes with it. But when you think of it from the perspective of sales is service, it makes it's a mindset shift right there.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I want to talk about drive. Now, I've seen you over the years locked in a room, tweaking courses, taking sales calls, getting up before sunrise, just working. What motivates you to keep going? What's a big driver there?
Oh, I don't even know if I can answer this question. If I'm to take a guess at what it is, I think it's almost something that I'm not fully conscious of anymore. I'm making an assumption that when I was going through those harder parts of the journey, and that wasn't like a 1 year hard part, it was like 1, 2, 3, like a 4 year hard part, right? I think that experience was so painful for me that probably there's probably some trauma on some level or something. I need a trauma coach. No, I'm just kidding. Don't DM me. There's probably some sort of subconscious thing that I still feel that experience, and I just don't want other people to go through that experience. Maybe this is bullshit, maybe it's not, but I think that I have probably a lot more give a fuck, for lack of better words, or care than maybe a lot of other business coaches doing this thing. But I think it's somehow rooted in how painful that 4 years was for me. Like your mess is your message, some sort of dharma type thing.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I think about this and I'm like, wow, you work so much, like you sacrifice so much for this thing, like why? Sometimes I feel like I don't have a choice. Like, it's just written already.
Yeah.
Like, I'm being guided along.
Yeah.
Like, this is just the mission I'm supposed to be on. You know?
Speaking of mission, your T-shirt, missionary over mercenary.
Yeah. This is, probably most people won't know what this is. Some of my friends razz me for it. They're like, oh. They're like, I didn't know there was a mercenary position. But basically, I pulled this from a Hormozy podcast that I was listening to a while ago. And he talked about the difference between missionaries and mercenaries. And a mercenary is someone for hire.
Yeah.
Right? There's someone that you hire when you want this job done and they're in it for the money.
Yeah.
A missionary, you know, if you were to think about it in the religious context, right? They're probably not even getting paid. They're there for the mission. And so, I don't know, that when he said that concept on one of his podcasts, that stuck with me enough that I really identified with that missionary. And I think that there's a lot of people especially in the business coaching space, that are totally mercenaries. They're totally there for the Stripe screenshots, you know, whatever. Sometimes people are just a number to them. And so I think for me, it was just, I don't know, I really identified with it, and I really just, for whatever reason, I liked it enough that I literally made my own T-shirt with it.
Yeah.
To just remind me, like, this isn't I'm not for hire kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't want to lose that, because I think I think ultimately that give a fuck is the reason that we're going to win. You know?
You're in it for the services.
Yeah.
You think that would you want to raise the standard in business because of that? Especially in the coaching business.
Yeah, I don't know where this comes from, because if I think about it, I've never really, maybe this is what it is. Maybe I'm having a little epiphany right here, but I've never really been burned. A lot of people have. I haven't. But I think beneath the surface of what I do, I don't know where this comes from 100%, but I do want to raise the standards in that industry.
Yeah.
And that's why I will spend, multiple 5 figures investing into people to help me improve the client experience. And that's why we're not cranking marketing right now at the expense of client success. And we're really focused on that. And then we'll crank marketing, you know? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure where that wanting to raise the standard comes from, because, like, I haven't exactly been burned before.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's there.
You mentioned Dharma. You believe in Dharma?
I don't know if I believe in Dharma. I mean, maybe I do. It felt like Dharma.
Yeah.
In 2020, when I had cracked a code for myself, and I was like, oh shit, that 5 years of sorcery that I just went through, there was probably a reason for that. If you didn't have that experience, you wouldn't give as many damns as you give right now.
Right.
Like, that was for something. You were supposed to go through that. So do I really believe in it? I don't know. But at the same time, my actions say that I do.
Right.
So, yeah.
Gotcha. How does one, we talked about motivation, how does, like, the listener, the coach that's listening, how would they cultivate that desire, that drive?
For what?
For their coaching business, for whatever they undertake. Because I know coaches, sometimes they just don't have that drive, or they don't have that passion. Maybe it's not that they don't have the passion, but they don't have the drive to get up early and do the work and do the push-ups. Given that you have cultivated that through your motivating factors service, yeah, how does one find that, I guess? Is it more an internal thing, they have to go through the journey and figure that out for themselves?
I don't know if I have the greatest answer to this, because what's coming to mind right now is that Jim Rohn quote of, like, I forget what he said, but it was like, why are some people motivated and others aren't? He's like, I don't know. Mysteries of the mind. Like, it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think for me, in the beginning, I probably wasn't as motivated as I needed to be.
Right.
I think that in the beginning, maybe it was a little bit more of my motivation was a lot of, actually, I think this probably would tie into it. My motivation was a little bit more of a self-motivation in terms of I would like to have more freedom. I would like to make more money. I would like to do work that I love, things like that. Now I have those things, obviously. The new motivation, what's the new motivation? I'm very motivated by growth.
Yeah.
So I like that. I think there's a degree of it that's just me as a human. I think that I used to be very competitive in, like, athletic stuff. And now I'm very competitive a lot with myself in business stuff. Like, I just think I have that push athletic mindset.
Yeah.
So that's something. I think that having something to serve bigger than you gives you a little bit of that motivation, like the mission.
Yeah.
There's a cause,
Yeah.
right? I think even thinking back to our first 100K month, I got more excited, honestly, about taking my team to acquisition.com and being able to pay certain people on my team $10,000 that month.
Right.
Like, I think I got more excitement out of that than,
Yeah.
What's a stripe screenshot? Like, cool, right? But I think actually, like, to circle back to it too, I remember thinking, this is around the 2020 time, that you know, a lot of people might have different and better, honestly, external motivation than I had, because it's like, well, I don't have kids.
Yeah.
I don't have a partner. Like, I don't have those external, I want to, you know what I mean? Like, do it for these people type
Right.
of thing. And so my motivation, I made it about the people that I was going to help, because I think actually this is my truest answer. Getting me to do it for me just wasn't a good enough reason to get off the sofa,
Yeah.
you know?
So it's basically finding something beyond yourself.
It's got to
bigger
be
and
something
beyond yourself.
external.
Yeah.
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 Unless it's like I do find the internal, like, I love being in the process and that growth process. That's an internal thing. Like, nobody else is getting that growth. That is something that motivates me. But I also think that external thing's really helpful,
Gotcha.
you know? It's really fun to labor over creating course materials. Like, right now I'm locked in this cave
Yeah.
for hours creating these outlines in this course material, and all I can think about, like, okay, this is going to be so good when the clients get it.
Yeah.
Right? So, I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
You talked about that 100K months in revenue. Let's talk about goals. You have a process. You hit that 100K month in revenue. Did you write down that goal? What was your, how did you manifest that?
100%. Oh, this is going to get woo. We're going to go down the woo path. You had a part in that, actually.
I did.
You did. That 100K. So basically what happened, for whatever reason, is I started reading. Remember when you gave me the book U Squared?
Yeah.
Price Pritchett?
Yep.
So for whatever reason, I started rereading that book. And then when I was reading that book, I found he talked about his other books. And one of them was The Quantum Leap Strategy. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get that book, The Quantum Leap Strategy. And then I started reading that book in my morning routine, or whatever you want to call it. Alex Hormozy would cringe as he hears that I have a morning routine. I started reading that book, and I remember one night, for some reason, I brought it downstairs and I just started reading it like crazy and just going through the whole thing. And I can't even remember what order happened what, but anyways, I just kept reading it and getting these downloads, these insights, as woo as that sounds. But, I mean, everyone has to experience. I mean, there's no way it's just us. Like, many people,
Right.
many people experience this, whether you're, you know, cognizant of it or not. But anyways, you start getting these downloads, and I just kept writing, like, hire this person, hire this person. It just kept happening. I don't know if that's what gave me the idea of the 100K month or whatever it was, but I think it was the hire the person first. And then I got so sick of my intuition pinging me as I was reading this book to hire this person. I was like, oh, fuck it. And I just went upstairs and messaged him. I was like, send me the payment link. So he sent me this payment link for like $15,000, and I ended up getting this program. And then after that, there was a 12-minute manifesting routine inside the thing. And I was like, you know what? It just occurred to me as I was reading, I was like, this is how I went. The first time when I went from $100 or $1,000 a month to $20,000 in a month, it was because I wrote $20,000 on a sticky note, and
Wow.
I got obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And was like crazy about it until it was just like, you couldn't unconvict me
Yeah.
that this wasn't going to happen. And so it's like, you know what? How come I haven't done that in a while? And then I was like, well, let's set a goal of this 100K month. And I started writing it down every single day, following the routine. I would draw the 100K in the middle and, you know, our NPS score for client success stuff. And I started, at one point, I got this idea. I was like, what if when we hit 100K per month, we went to the acquisition workshop? And then I started drawing the acquisition workshop. I would go on Google and I'd look up the workshop. Like, I'd write everything. I'd draw it out to scale. I'd write the exact number that it was. I think it was like 2960, like
Yeah.
on the building. I'd write me and my 2 other team members. I'd draw some of the steps of the acquisition workshop. And we hit the
You
goal.
literally had a photo of that. You manifested that.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I knew when I was drawing it, and this is where they talk about like connecting the emotion with things.
Yeah.
I knew when I was drawing it. Actually, this is why I printed this shirt.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm going to wear this shirt to the acquisition workshop, which I never did because
Right.
it was supposed to be business casual. So I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't wear this like random t-shirt. But I knew, like, I was seeing it in my mind. I was like, I'm going to take this photo. I'm going to take the photo right here. And so when I got out of the taxi, when we actually got to the Uber, whatever, when we got there, I was like, oh, guys, we got to take this photo. This was the photo in my mind.
Right.
Like, we have to take this. I need this. Right?
Yeah.
So, anyways.
I love to, when I set goals, it's something I don't always do, but one thing I love that you kept it simple. You kept 100K, kept it super simple. But one thing I love to do, but don't always do, is just like visualize. And I think like you drawing things out and you actually putting your mind to that, like how it will actually become, how you'll actually bring it into fruition. I think that's a powerful process in manifestation.
I think that was a game changer. Like, I would draw. So one of the mentors that I had hired gives out trophies when you hit certain months. So I would draw the trophy.
Yeah.
I would write out the names of the mentors that I had that I was going to send a thank you to in Slack. Right. I would, you know what I mean? Like,
wow.
I would see the acquisition thing. Yeah. And yeah, it was crazy. I think the music helped too.
Yeah.
Like putting music to it, because then I put
emotionalize it.
Rufus Soul on.
Yeah.
It was really good. Yeah.
Amazing. In a past conversation, you talked about the goal was never the real goal. And when you hit that 100K, it was a great moment. You felt it, but that was not the real goal. Could you expand on that?
I mean, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Cool, we hit 100K. Cool, we have a strange
right.
screenshot. Like, okay, great. Did my life change at all before that goal and now? No.
Yeah.
But I think, this is super cliche, but you're foolish if you think that you're going to hit this thing and then it's going to change your life. It's going to mean something to you. Like, it doesn't mean anything. And what I hate about the idea of, if I make $1 million, my life's going to change, is like, okay, you're going to literally feel that for 1 second. And right after that, like, think about Olympic medalists or whatever. They get the gold, and the day after they're like depressed because they don't know, well, now what? You know? And what I like about setting the goal, it's just something to aim at. It's simply something to aim at. And then what I like about becoming obsessed with the process to getting there, like actually genuinely liking the journey to get there, if you're taking the right steps and along that journey to get to that goal, you are becoming a different version of yourself, and you're becoming the type of person that you want to become, you get rewarded every day for that. You get rewarded the instant that you didn't feel like filming that video, taking that action, doing that thing, and you did it anyways, and you know that you're on the path. You get rewarded every day for that.
Yeah.
And, what would you rather? Would you rather get reinforced and rewarded for something every single day at multiple moments along the journey, or you just get that one hit of dopamine that one time and then you get depressed the next day? I'd rather the former, personally.
Right. That's good right there.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about your productivity. We touched on that. Mm-hmm. How do you stay productive? What's your routine like?
Good question. I'm better at sometimes than others, but generally I'm reasonably productive for sure. I could be a little bit better at going to bed on time.
Yeah.
As Alex would say. So many problems can be solved by just simply going to bed on time. But in general, I'll have a wake-up time. I do usually have some form of morning routine. It's not crazy. It's not complicated. I'm not doing breath work and in the sauna for 3 hours, right? But, getting up, drinking a little bit of water, going for a quick walk, making some food and having coffee. And then usually I'll sit in silence for 20 minutes, or I'll do one of those manifestation things for 20 minutes. But I find that to be, is a good word. Is the right word solace? Solace? Like your time to yourself, silence, whatever you want to call it.
Solitude.
I think there's a word solace, but I could be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm a millennial, okay? We don't.
You're crazy, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's just like before the day gets crazy.
Yeah.
A little bit of, time like that. And usually my thing that I like to do in the morning is I try not to check Instagram or Slack or really anything that could get me distracted.
Yeah.
There's a concept in this book, what is it called? The dopamine detox. And he talks about like closed loops versus open loops. Instagram is an open loop. There's an endless sea of distractions and dopamine. YouTube, you go in there to find one thing, and next thing you know, you're lost. And then 20 minutes later, you're like, how did I get here? Slack, I go in to message a team member, and next thing you know, I'm responding to 17 clients, right? So I try not to do any of that in the morning. I try to do the most important thing, deep work, don't get distracted for as long as I can. But then eventually, at some point in the day, a team member needs me. There's Slack stuff, there's Instagram, there's this thing, there's that thing. So I just try to do morning routine, like one thing, deep work, like that book, The One Thing.
Yeah.
Until I can't and I have a sales call or I have some sort of thing on the calendar that screws up my flow. And then it's like, okay, I'm on sales calls, I'm on client calls, I'm in Slack, I'm going to the gym, I'm eating lunch, whatever. And then at the end of the day, there's some sort of wind down routine. Yeah.
You mentioned, and this will also, you expanded on this in a previous conversation, that part of your morning routine is that silent period. And in that silent period is where you get some great ideas.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about that and the entrepreneur who is just like go, 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 but there's a place for silent time?
I think Sarah Blakely talks about this, but she actually... I don't know if it's that she doesn't have to drive to work or her drive to work was like super short. Let's say it was like, I don't know if it was like she didn't have to go to work or if getting to work was 5 minutes, but she would like, unless I'm totally making up this right now, which I don't think I am, I'm pretty sure that she used to go, or maybe she still does, go for 45-minute drives because that allowed her brain space to just wander and accidentally think.
Yeah.
And I think that that's very helpful. Like, sometimes drives are that for me, or maybe listening to music or a walk or something like that. But that morning space can be that as well. And it's either, like, if I have a goal that I'm really pushing on, like the 100K month maybe, I might be using that time to really focus on it and, like, call that in and, like, manifest that thing. But other times, it's less of, like, I'm aggressively pushing toward this thing or... You know, the manifesting people wouldn't call it pushing at all. They'd call it attracting, right?
Yeah.
But I'm either focused on that or sometimes I'm just actually, like, not focused on anything. I just sit there. And in that silence, like, things float to the surface. Thoughts float to the surface, you know? And I find that to be very helpful because a lot of times the goals come out of that time for things to float up, right?
Yeah. And I ask these questions because it sort of builds this framework of you becoming, you're becoming, there's growth in there, and you're changing your identity, you're changing you're becoming more focused into what you want to create and manifest in your life. Another thing I see that I know you pay a lot of attention to clients. I've joined courses before where you never hear from them again, but you put in a lot of extra work into getting to know your clients, getting to know their problems, getting to know where they are in their business. Could you talk about a little bit more about that process of why you put in so much effort and focus into your clients?
I mean, the mentor that I was working with, well, that I'm still working with regards to client success is like you kind of got to decide which kind of business you want to be. Like, do you want to be super high touch or do you want to be kind of more hands off? And the price points will likely reflect what you choose.
Yeah.
Right? I wanted to be way closer to the white glove service stuff. Why? I mean, I just don't think courses are all that helpful.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't want to just only give someone the course because the information is like, that is barely the battle. It's the implementation. Right?
Right.
So I think for me, I just think about, well, what would I want? Well, I would want the information, sure. Yeah. But I would also want the implementation, the coaching, the accountability, calling me out on stuff, like actually being able to access this person if I need some help, right? Yeah. So
you think AI might take that role one day?
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know my views on AI. My views on AI are that at some point, the robots are going to be just plain better than us. And who knows if they decide to keep us around or not.
They might be better at client and customer care.
I don't think it's a might. I think it's 100% they will. And in the meantime, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're implementing as much of this into our business as we can and giving as much of this to our clients as we can.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it in the long term, we might just destroy the whole place and no one will even be here and it won't matter, right?
Right.
But in the shorter term, you're going to get left behind if you're not paying attention. And we're paying attention. So.
And that leads me to my question. What's the next step for Morgan? Is it more of technology, embracing technology and AI, and where do you go from here?
I mean, what are we focused on right now? We're focused on redoing the program materials and making them as good as we can possibly make them right now. We're pouring into the client experience and the coaches within the program and just the systems to hold people accountable and like all that kind of stuff. So we're really just pouring into client success. As we do that, we are constantly asking ourselves the question of like, do I need to be doing this? Could AI be doing this? We're trying to integrate that into the program, integrate that for our clients. And once I say finished in quotation marks, because I don't think we're ever going to truly be finished with this client success project. And I don't want us to ever be finished with it. Like, I think this is important to me as running new ad tests every week, right? But once we do that, then we're going to take our focus and, once that's as dialed as we can make it, then we're going to take our focus and put it back towards acquisition, sales, marketing, and reach more people. But right now we're focused on that.
Yeah.
And then we're going to focus on the marketing. Yeah. And not that we're not focused on marketing, not that we're not taking on clients, but we could be being very aggressive right now with it, and we're choosing not to because I don't want to scale at the expense of client results. If anything, when we scale, I want our client results to get better. I want our NPS scores to be higher,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. As we're coming down to the end, we spoke about the Steve Jobs and that story about him connecting the dots. He said you can only connect the dots when you look back. In that speech he said that, and he emphasized the idea you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. It's really one of the most iconic lines from that speech he made, and symbolizing faith and trust and following your curiosity when the path isn't even clear. Mm-hmm. When you look back the last 10 years, what dots could you connect?
What dots can I connect? I mean, I can certainly connect the dots that probably the best single most life-changing decision I ever made was dropping out of engineering, for sure, because it completely changed the trajectory that I was on. That made probably very little sense to most other people at the time. I questioned that. All my friends were going to graduate the next year, and I was basically starting over. I basically lost my identity of being an A student and a good student, and I was like, now I'm a dropout? Wait, like, my brother's finishing and I'm dropping out? The roles were supposed to be switched. So anyways, but that was a really big thing that connected everything together. The other thing for sure that I can connect is all of the struggles that I had with the coaching thing. Like, a lot of coaches don't, there's a lot of coaches that don't last that long in this industry, and they start and then they quit or they stop or whatever. I don't think I would still be doing this thing 5 or 10 years later if I didn't have that experience. The experience of, like I said, that co-working space where it's that's where I met the coach, the person who told me about the course. Just these little things that just gave me that 1 degree shift or 2 degree shift that over time has been crazy. Even if I think about it, the guy that I'm working with right now, helping me with the client success project, who used to be the head of client success for one of Alex Hormozzi's biggest portfolio companies, how would if I didn't make the decision to invest in that one mentor that I invested in, I never would have got access to that network and found this guy to help me with this thing, to do the thing that I care about the most. You can't plan that.
Right.
Right. Yeah. You just have to make the best choices you can in the moment and react to what you get from those choices.
Take the opportunities.
Yeah.
When they show up.
Yeah.
Amazing. What we talked a lot about where you were, the person you became. We talk about a catalyst in your life. We talk about some of the success rituals you have, that led to your growth and your daily productivity. We talked about your client success and how you frame things in your business, the mental models you use in your business. What's one thing you want to leave the listener with for them to take away from this episode?
In terms of mental models?
In terms of anything that you think stands out from this conversation that, hey, this is the one thing I want you to really take away and go run with it.
This is a tough one for me to answer.
Yeah.
Ask me this question in a different way. I'm not usually that when people give me questions, they're like, tell me the one thing. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So think about this. Think about it from this perspective. There's a business owner that is a coach who's listening to this podcast. They've heard you talk about your own growth. They've heard you talk about the changes you made in your life, the identity shifts you made. And they're sitting down there thinking, shoot, I wish I had that success. I wish I could.
What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
That would be my thing. Like, ask yourself that question. Like, what do you really have to lose? Like, what are you so afraid of? I am way more afraid of not doing something and then getting 12 months down the line, a year, 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the line, and looking back, what if I did this thing? And having regret.
Right.
Like, I will stick with this quote. It's my favorite quote, the Man in the Arena quote.
I was just about to say that.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, I would so much rather be in the arena getting my face absolutely smashed in than I would be sitting on the sidelines just fucking watching. So get in the arena. Get your ass kicked. Like, I just, if I get, you know what I mean? Like, when I get to the end of my life, I would just, even if I got my ass handed to me, I would have at least rather tried than be like, well, what if?
Yeah.
Regret,
You don't want that what if regret.
What do you have to lose? Like, I think you have way more to lose by not doing anything.
Right.
Than you do by doing something.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's perfect.
So, bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself. You heard it. Well, Morgan, I want to thank you for being in this podcast episode, and congratulations on all your success you've had in the last 10 years. And
I'm chuckling because I'm like, I do not accept
right.
your label of success.
Right. But
sure.
Going forward, wishing you all the best as well too. So again, thank you for sharing your wisdom with the listeners. And yeah, that's it. That's a wrap.